Hey everyone, Cody from Mactelecom Networks. Late afternoon yesterday, Ubiquiti released UniFi Network Application 10.3.55 to release candidate. This release does bring some great new changes with Identity Firewall and some other things that we're going to take a look at. If you want to get this release, you're going to have to change your candidate to release candidate and it should show up. Seeing as this list of improvements isn't overly long, it probably won't be a super long video either. But if you'd like to hire me for network consulting, you can visit my website at mactelecomnetworks.com. Now let's get right into it. The first change that we're going to take a look at is under our topology and then infrastructure. We're now able to add clients that we have connected to our network. So I have a Raspberry Pi running Home Assistant. We're able to add that and I'll show you how to do it. Scrolling down to the bottom, you could see add device and then you could see assign device. I'm going to hit this drop down and it's pulling up two different things that I have. I have a Philips Hue bridge and then I have my Home Assistant and I'm going to click on the Home Assistant and we're just going to say it's a 1U rack server and we're going to press add. Now you can see where it's connected to. It says port 47 and if we go down, it's showing us the uptime of the device and what the IP address is. If we click on the device, we could go over to the settings wheel and then we could do power and resiliency. So we could link a power source and if we did have our power source connected to this device, say our PDU, and it notices that the heartbeat is missed, it will power cycle it automatically. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add my Philips Hue bridge as well, and we're going to just say that's a 1U server and we'll press add. Clicking on the device for the Philips Hue bridge, we're going to go to the settings, and here it is plugged into my PDU, so we'd be able to tell it which outlet it's plugged into, so if it notices it goes offline, it will do that auto restart. This next update is probably the biggest one in 10.3.55, and that's the ability to create firewall rules based on identity. So we could select people or we could select roles. So let me show you a drawing of what we're going to be doing. And this is going to be done with UniFi Identity. We're going to go ahead and we're going to create some users and then we're going to assign some firewall rules to them using identity. So here you can see we have two different groups that we're going to create. We're going to create staff and then we're going to create HR and we're going to have 3 people in each of them. This staff group, you could follow the path of the cable. We're going to allow it go to our NAS, but we're not going to allow it to go to our Home Assistant or social media. The HR group, they're going to be able to go to the NAS, they'll be able to go to the Home Assistant, and they'll be able to go over to social media, but they won't be able to hit anything else on our network. The first thing we're going to have to do, we'll have to go back to our network, and we're going to have to create a couple different groups. So I'm going to click on People, and then we're going to manage groups. From here, I'm going to create 2 groups. One will be called Staff, and we're going to give them the assignments of network, and we'll give them one-click Wi-Fi. I'm not going to do the VPN for this, and we're going to press create. The next group that we're going to create is going to be called HR, and we're going to do the exact same thing. They'll have one-click Wi-Fi, and we'll press create. Now we need to create all those different users, so I'm going to create a new user. The first one will be Dexter Morgan, and we're going to select a group, and he is going to be in the staff group, and we're going to press save for that. And since he's in the staff group, he'll have access to the one-click Wi-Fi, but we're not going to give them access to the one-click VPN, and we'll press create. This will send out an identity invite, and I'm going to copy that because we will be using that to do some testing. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create the other users, and then I'll show you how their groups show up. The 2 groups I now have created. So we have our staff group with Dexter, we have Deborah, and we have Harry, and we also have our HR department for our group. So let's go over to the HR, and you can see we have Angel, we have Dokes, and we have Vince. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load the credentials, and this will be for Dexter. So we're going to load your credentials. I already have the endpoint downloaded on my computer. In the bottom right hand corner, you could see that Dexter Morgan has UniFi Identity Wi-Fi. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn off my Ethernet connection, and we're going to connect to the Wi-Fi, and we're going to do a bit of testing. You can see that I'm connected to the Identity Wi-Fi. Let's bring up a command line, and we're going to try to ping the PDU at 10.247. So I'm going to go ping 192.168.10.247, and we're able to hit that. So right now we have full access to everything on this device. But since Dexter is in the staff network and we only want them to go over to our UNAS, we need to create some firewall rules around that. So I'm going to go back to our Mactelecom PM, my Pro Max. I'm going to click on the settings, then we're going to go to our zone-based firewall. Within our zone-based firewall, we're going to go ahead, we'll create a policy, and I'll say block identity staff to all networks. The source zone is going to be our internal, and now we could see the new tab or the toggle switch. So we have identity, where we could click on people, or we could do roles. So if you want individual people to be able to reach different things within this network, you could do that, but we're just going to do a blanket block. So I'm going to click on select people or roles, and we're going to select the role of staff. We're going to select block, and then our destination zone is going to be internal, and it's going to be any, and we're going to press add policy. Now, if we bring open a command line again, and we try to hit that PDU, ping 192.168.10.247, we're not able to hit that. But since we want the staff network to be able to hit my NAS, we're going to have to put an allow rule in. We're now going to create the allow rule to allow the staff to get to the NAS. So we'll create policy, and we'll say allow staff to UNAS. The source zone is going to be internal, and we're going to select identity, and we're going to select the two roles of staff and HR, as HR will eventually be able to get there. We're going to do the action of allow, and we're going to scroll down again, and we're going to go internal, and this time we're just going to put an IP address, and this is going to be of my NAS. We'll press add, and then we'll do add policy. Bringing up a command line, this still isn't going to work, so we'll go ping, and then we'll ping my NAS. So it is going to time out. I'm just going to press up and then -T, and the reason for that is our firewall rules are done in top-down order, and you could see the one at the top is block identity staff to all network. So we need to reorder. We're going to grab the allow staff to UNAS, and then we're going to press done. Going back to the command line interface, we should be seeing some ping replies come out here just in a second, and then we'll be able to reach our NAS, like you could see right there. The last firewall rule that we need to do for staff is to block them from accessing social media. So we're going to create a policy. It will be block staff to social media. The source zone will be internal. We're going to select identity and then the role of our staff. We're going to do an action of block, and this time the destination zone is going to be external. We're going to select app, and then we're going to select a category. We're going to go ahead and we're going to type in social media or social networks. We're going to save that, and then we're going to add that policy. Now I'm going to give that a second. I am still connected to the Wi-Fi or the UniFi Identity Wi-Fi for Dexter Morgan, who is in that staff group. So let's go ahead and we're going to open up a new tab, and we're going to type in Instagram.com. Instagram.com is just spinning. We're not able to get there. Let's try to go to Facebook. And the same thing is happening with Facebook. So our firewall rules, they are all completed for our staff network. Now we need to do it for the HR network. So let's go ahead. We're going to go back. We're going to create a policy, and we're just going to say block HR to all networks. This is going to be similar to what we did for the staff network. So the source zone is going to be identity. The role is going to be for our HR, and then we're just going to do a block of internal, and we're going to do any, and I'm going to add that policy. HR is still going to be able to go to our UNAS because I did add them in this firewall rule, but we also wanted them to go over to my home assistant. So we need to get the IP for that, and we could do that by looking at our client list. I have the IP for that. We're going to create a new policy, and we're going to call it allow HR to home assistant or HA. The source zone is going to be internal with identity, the role of our HR, and then we're going to allow, and we're going to do it for the IP of that home assistant, and then we're just going to add that IP, and we're going to add the policy. Again, we need to reorder this policy so that it's above the block rule, so we'll reorder, and then we'll go above all the block rules, and then we'll press done. So the HR will be able to hit all that they want, and they're still able to go out to social media because we didn't do any content filter firewall rules for that. And that's going to be our identity firewall. And I really do like how they're doing this, as it's going to be user-based firewall rules, or we could do our identity groups. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this works on our wired connections. I haven't actually tried it, and I'm not sure how you would go around doing that. Maybe they would put in like a port profile where it's identity only. So if we tag that with the identity port profile, it would make us have to sign in to our UniFi Identity endpoint, but that's just me guessing. I don't even know if that's something that's going to happen. There's only a couple more minor things that we're going to take a look at. So if we're over on our device page, we now have a column, and that's going to be for our PoE supervise. So if you have the supervisor enabled, which is under your high availability, it's going to show us here. If you haven't seen that supervisor, that did just recently come out. So you click on high availability, and then down at the bottom, you have your device supervisor. And what this will do is, if it doesn't detect the heartbeat, it will actually power cycle the device, which is a very nice feature that they added. One other thing that I noticed that wasn't really in the release files, it just showed up right at top, is the port profile. So they switched where that is, and you could toggle it on or off, and then you could manage your port profile for this specific switch port. Everything else in this update we're not going to take a look at. There are more improvements and there are bug fixes. I'll leave the link below to this firmware update. The biggest thing to me was that firewall identity, and I really do hope we could use it with our wired connections or figure out a way how to do it. Like I said, I still haven't tested that. If you have any questions about this video, leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right, thanks.